Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today, by request, PayPal request, we are doing 1976's The Human Tornado.
I know we're dipping our toe into the exploitation films here in the 70s. I knew, Superfly, Shaft, of course, Foxy Brown, Blackula, some of the bigger ones that just kind of everybody knew. And I only knew about Dolemite because of Robin Harris, the legendary, late, great Robin Harris in House Party.
Yes.
Spouting off Dolemite poems at the white-ass cops. I was dead when I realized what this was. I was so happy.
Yeah, I had never seen this, full disclosure as well. So this was my first time into the Human Tornado. And I was I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I think the Human Tornado, I know that's supposed to be Dolemite's kind of nickname.
Yeah.
But I think the Human Tornado is actually the people that edited this film. Because that is the only excuse you have for what the fuck I just watched.
Well, and I did read, and again, not just for movies that I really like, but for movies that I've never seen before, I do just a smidge. By a smidge of research, I type something into Google, and whatever it spits out at me is truth, goddammit. So I did read that Rudy Ray Moore wanted this done so badly that he financed most of this film.
Oh, it shows.
So,
it shows.
Before we get into it, if you want to reach out to me or Corey on Twitter, you can reach out to me at Junior D's. You can reach out to Corey at Idle Poncho. And like I said, this is a request. This was a PayPal request. So thank you for that. It might have taken us a year to get to this one if it wasn't a PayPal request.
100%. And for those of you who are waiting on your PayPal requests, upcoming we have Blown Away.
Yep.
We have Iron Eagle.
Yep.
We have Carrie. Thank God the original 1973 version. And we have It. And thank God that is the 2017 updated version.
Yes.
So the next 3-4 weeks here are about to be a tornado in and of themselves.
Yes, we are the Human Tornadoes. So,
motherfucker.
So let's.
By the way, I think we got to do this real quick. PSA. Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. If you watch this movie, which I highly suggest you do, yes, you are going to be motherfucking everybody for at least a week.
Absolutely.
So just prepare yourself.
Yep.
Maybe not. Don't talk to Nana for a week or so because you're going to offend her delicate sensibilities and get cut out of the will. Nobody wants that.
Nope.
So just play it cool. Talk to the people that can take it, but be ready because you are going to motherfuck everybody.
Yes. So this is just a warning moving forward. So, but this film stars the eternal Rudy Ray Moore as Dolemite, reprising his Dolemite role, Lady Reed as Queen Bee, Gloria Delaney as Hurricane Annie, another great name, and Ernie Hudson, by my surprise, as Bo. Ernie Hudson, the best actor, not just obviously career-wise, but in this movie, his he doesn't get a ton of dialogue.
No.
But his nonverbal acting just smushes everybody in this movie.
Oh, yeah. And his scene where, spoiler alert, somebody dies. The scene where he's holding his dude in his arms while he's dying. Yo, he was acting his ass off.
Dude, he acted his ass off the whole film.
Let me tell you something. If you've only seen Ernie Hudson, by the way, in Ghostbusters and Oz and shit like that, FYI, that cat was a smooth bastard. Holy shit. He looked good.
Oh, he looked real good.
Young-ass Ernie Hudson was bringing it.
Absolutely. And can we just say this? Because, I typically go through chronological order, which I'll do the same here. But can we
I don't think they did.
No, they didn't. Can we just say that this is the most ridiculous opening to a movie in movie history? like lots of weird cutaways and weird mirrors and like weird shit in the
Yeah, and
front
then
of
you're like,
this.
then you're doing like a fucking Mohammed thing on the mountain. Yeah, this opening was fucking crazy. And it lets you know immediately exactly what you're in for, because the rest of this shit does not let up.
Yes. No, it doesn't. Because after the opening credits, you get Dolemite doing stand up at Queen Bee's, then cutting to like random dancers and performers, and then back to Dolemite telling horrible dad jokes, and then back to the weird dancing and performing.
First off, that was not weird dancing. If you're talking about the Josephine Baker shit that was happening, because that ass was awesome. I was like, I just hope this is the rest of the movie, is just him doing a joke and cut away to her ass just bouncing.
No, it's just it wasn't expected. It wasn't expected. So we'll just say that. But when we then cut to Dolemite's house after this weird cold open. They're doing like a fundraiser for the boys' home while Dolemite is setting up a trick in the bedroom. And
yeah, this was my question too. Was she donating to the boys' home? Or is he a prostitute?
He's a prostitute.
He is a prostitute.
He's
right over my head.
He's a kung fu comedian prostitute.
Well, I mean, if you got two of them, you might as well go for the third.
I mean, you might as well. He's just checking off all the boxes. So
exactly.
I could respect that.
Hey, he's a go-getter.
We then get random racist hillbillies drive by and they see black people having a good time and they can't have that. So they go to the sheriff's office to complain that there's black people doing stuff.
And to be fair, only one person recognized that it was black people. The other guy had never seen such a sight in his life. He had never seen a black person. He'd never seen anybody with any kind of pigment to their skin tone. It's just all white all the time. And when he saw it, he saw aliens partying on a hill. Like, I don't know what the hell that is.
All he knows from colors is pink. He's like, all I know is pink. Pink skin tone, and that's it. That's all I know.
Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. If you fuck your cousin, this is what happens. So don't do that. Don't raise people that see black people and go, what the hell is that? That's cousin fucking.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Absolutely. Well, then Sheriff Kenny Rogers decides to go to Dolemite's house to break up the party and sexually assault people. And he finds Dolemite having sex with his wife, because apparently that was the trick, was his wife. And the deputy shoots the wife and then tries to shoot Dolemite, but he gets away after shooting the deputy.
I will actually give the sheriff credit for one thing here, is because the white woman who Rudy Ray Moore is sleeping with tries to pull the white women shit from back in the, well, I mean, I don't probably still do it, but like whole, he forced me.
Yeah.
And Sheriff Kenny Rogers was not buying that.
No.
He shot her dead as a motherfucker.
Yep.
And the second thing is, this is the first of many scenes where we get a glimpse of Rudy Ray Moore's asshole. And I understand, like, you're making a love scene, you got to get on top, you're doing your thing. But why are we close up on your butthole, dude?
Yeah, it's...
If you financed it, you had creative control over this, which means you were like, in the first shot, no, you've panned too far out. I need a tight on this pretty star.
Well, and speaking of Rudy Ray Moore's asshole, after he escapes, he dives over the wall, and they give you the nice 2 to 3 shot, like, yeah, I did that shit. And
I love that where he goes, don't think I'll jump, did ya, motherfucker? And then just dives.
So we get him diving over the wall and then tumbling down the hill, asshole naked, as his buddies pick him up when he gets to the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, dude, his dick is done for like 4 or 5 days after that shit.
The amount of fucking like raspberries you have after sliding down that dry ass hill,
Yeah.
butt ass naked.
This is the benefits of having a baby dick. So
Exactly. And apparently they had to stop at the store after this to get some Neosporin for Rudy because he was a little scraped up. But then
fuck
we
that.
get
You
this.
need to pour an entire bottle of peroxide across that dick.
After this, we get this weird car chase through like the dirty roads of Texas or wherever they are, and then they blow up one of the cars chasing them, which blows up their car. So now they need a car to get to California because that's their goal. So they carjack a gay dude's car and head to California with him. Well, yeah,
they let him stay in the car.
Yeah,
which was very like, hey, good for you guys. That's very not 70s.
They give him money.
To hit that shit the entire time. He's like, you got a dick? Can I put it in my mouth? You got a dick? Can I put it in my mouth? And everybody just kept being like, no, dude, you can't. Here's a Pringles can. Fuck it.
During this ride to California, we get another weird scene where they pull over to pee, and the dude walks in on the chick peeing, and then he pees in the sink, which, okay, for a comedic moment, funny. But the amount of time that they stay on the shot between him standing in the door, holding his dick, I gotta pee, and the chick sitting on the toilet screaming, it's an uncomfortable amount of time. Like, it stops being funny after the first 2 seconds, and then they just continue shooting that one that's just like, just run with it. Just run with it. It'll be fine. We'll just keep the camera there.
Oh, totally. Totally. And originally, this was a white woman sitting on the toilet, but she kept missing her cues because every time the black guy ran in the door, she grabbed her purse too early.
On the way to California after the peeing incident, we get cuts between this and dance scenes at Queen Bee's club. It's like this weird acid trip cut scene here, there, and everywhere. And then we randomly get Joe Cavaletti, who owns a club down the street from Queen Bee's.
I have a question.
Go right ahead, because I got plenty of questions.
Is that Virgil Salazzo?
I don't know, but he's doing his best Mo Green impression this entire movie.
I'm telling you, that's fucking Virgil Salazzo, dude. Now, look, you have dabbled into the research, not me. So I could be wrong, and it's been well noted that I'm extraordinarily racist towards white people. So it could have happened. My bad.
I swear it's all going to be taken care of. Just give me a little more time.
Herb Graham is
Graham.
Yes, is Cavaletti.
All right, well,
they couldn't even get a fucking Italian guy to play Cavaletti.
No.
Let's get this Herb Graham. They're like, just watch The Godfather. Just pretend you're Mo Green. Just do that.
Yeah. Little do you know, Rudy Ray Moore went on to cast True Lies.
So we get Joe Cavaletti, who owns a club down the street from Queen Bee's. She's taking all his business, so he sends his henchmen to her club to like rough her up. And
this scene was a little rough because they beat the shit out of her.
Okay, so this scene was rough when it gets to her. When they first get in, like they're sitting at the end of the bar, it's very weird how the whole thing starts. And then they're just like, hey, let me go move these chairs over here. Hey, and they just start throwing chairs around. And then, like every fight scene in this movie, it's a horrible fight scene.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was premium kung fu action right there.
They go behind the bar, and this is where it gets rough because they beat the shit out of Queen Bee behind the bar. And again, her acting, her like grunts and getting like that shit's real. Like it looks and sounds real. So that was cool. All the stuff that happened before that, I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but people are falling down for no reason.
You have never been in a kung fu fight with a bunch of minority friends. Unlike me, who I can now say that was very real. So that was very true to life. That's how it goes down.
I will be honest. I've never seen people fall so slowly after getting hit in my life. But they end up taking 2 chicks as hostages, and Cavaletti calls Queen Bee and says she'll never see her girls again if they don't shut the place down.
And show up for work.
Well, at first,
that's weird.
He says, if you don't shut the place down, you'll never see these girls again. Because this is where I start to have questions. And then a few scenes from now, you see Queen Bee working there. And I'm like, whoa. No, you just said shut the place down. It's shut down. Can I get the girls back? No, now you got to work here and serve drinks?
Yeah, like, when he makes the call, he says, shut the place down or you never get your girls back. And make sure you're here at 9:00.
Well, yeah, I thought to pick up the chicks.
Exactly. That's what I thought. Like you're going to do an exchange, like you're handing over the deed to the club. No, you're a fucking waitress now. I don't understand that one. Like to compare it to another movie where they're kind of doing the same club thing and a mob guy wants the club, Harlem Nights, right?
Yeah.
He wants to take over the club.
Yes.
Because it's so popular in Harlem Nights. That's why they're trying to push Richard and Eddie out.
Yeah.
This one, it's like, no, I don't want you to run a club. You're like the best waitress in the world. I want you to shut your place down and come serve drinks at my place.
Because obviously that's why your club is so hot. Because the way you motherfuckers serve drinks, like, you guys need to come work for me.
Yeah, like, I mean, as far as like a mob boss's plan, this is a weird one.
This is so convoluted. Like, yeah, because you have the sheriff at the beginning, and then like that's like the plot. And it's like, oh, cool. It's like a worse version of the sheriff from like Cannonball Run. Awesome. Yeah. That's what this movie's about. And then you get this Cavaletti storyline, and they take these girls to some weird fuck dungeon where there's some creepy old lady on acid with snakes. I don't know what's going on.
No, I don't understand why the witch was involved. This reminded me of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Like, Alan Rickman's talking to this witch for no reason. It's like, why do you exist, witch? So Morgan Freeman has someone to kill later? Like,
yes.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was just out there. And apparently she's a little bi-curious too, because her big thing is to pop titties out of shirts.
Yeah, she likes popping them titties out.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I ain't mad at it, but at the same time,
I'm not going to judge
gratuitous nudity. That titty didn't need to be popped out.
No, listen, I'm not one for judging. I mean, but at the end of the day, it is a fuck dungeon. So I guess you do what you do in the dungeon, but
it's out.
Whatever happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon. But Dolemite and his crew finally get to California. They find out about Queen Bee's predicament because she's now working at Cavaletti's club for some reason. And Dolemite then finds some time to get sexy with Hurricane Annie, who they're also trying to find.
This is a good reminder of how great technology is. Like, the next time you want to shit on technology, understand that a large portion of this movie is spent with 5 dudes trying to track down one girl across all of Los Angeles because the club they were supposed to meet at is closed.
This is back in the day where you had to know somebody who knew somebody if you wanted to find somebody.
No shit. This is a 5-minute movie today. It's called Find My Phone. That's one thing I have to say, just like an editorial note. If you got a cool ass real name like Lady Reed, don't take Queen Bee as your name in the movie. Just play Lady Smith, Lady Jones. Yeah. Lady Reed's a dope ass name.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Queen Bee's just kind of,
Yeah, it is what it is. But this is what I liked about this whole thing, because it's like, oh, there's a break in the movie, we should totally have sex. But it's like this weird scene where she makes fun of him because he's gained weight and he's a little chubby now. And so they do like exercises in the bed. And this is what I do like about throwbacks. And this is why you should watch movies from back in the 70s and 60s. They're not all bangers. I'll give you that. But you forget about things like Bush. I forgot Bush hasn't been a thing since
Gavin Rossdale.
I was going to say since this movie came out, and then Gavin Rossdale.
That was a thick Bausch. And I appreciated it. And I appreciated Hurricane Annie doing that for everybody. Again, another close-up of Rudy Ray Moore's asshole. Now, here's the question I had. So the scene before this, we're in the fuck dungeon. I mean, right before the sex scene, we're back in the fuck dungeon with our two kidnapped victims. And the creepy guy's got the girl down to her underwear, and she's strapped to this fucking board on the ground. And
strapped. She's strapped to the board.
And it's like very rapey, and he's like, I'm gonna be back later and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then you cut to, again, Dolemite taking the time out of finding everybody to have sex. So technically, this sex scene that's supposed to be all hot and sexy is backed up against the same time where these girls are probably being raped.
Yeah, more than likely. And listen, Corey, you do this all the time. Don't take the time to read into it.
Sorry, man. Look, I'm a plot follower. Call me crazy. I follow plots and timelines. I'm a bit of a stickler.
Well, you were dizzy at the end of this movie then, because...
Brother, that ain't no shit. I bought stock in Dramamine after this motherfucker.
But then, after sexy times, we see the sheriff from Texas, or wherever they're from, get to Cali and asks the local PD to track down Dolemite because he killed his wife, and the story gets even more convoluted at this point. And then...
I'm going to tell you right now, this is the only part of this movie that has stood the test of time, is how two police officers speak to each other about a black murder suspect.
Yes, 100%.
Because every conversation these two have, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like, am I in the fucking room right now?
Yeah. Dolemite then goes undercover to try to sell sexy oil paintings to Cavaletti's horny wife.
Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. If you think someone's a nymphomaniac, showing them a velvet painting of an interracial love couple is not going to do what happens here. Don't try and take advantage of nymphomaniacs. They'll take care of you. But this is so weird. Like,
this whole scene's weird. She just
takes out her titties and is rubbing. And I'm like, it's just a velvet fucking painting.
Yeah, this whole scene is weird. And you want to talk about acid trippy, because he pulls out the oil painting, she gets all hot and bothered, and then he bangs her for the information to where Cavaletti's fuck dungeon is. But in the midst of all of this that's happening, we get this weird acid trippy cutaway with bodybuilders and apparently Jordan Peele coming out of a toy box and like flexing and that like going down the slide. And like, dude, this whole thing, at one point, it was right towards the end of this, I just paused it because it's cutting from this weird acid trippy scene to apparently the director was like, we're just going to put this entire bedroom on a series of pulleys, and the bed's spinning around. He's doing his best human tornado thing, and he's slinging that D, and she gives up the information. My head was spinning at the end of this whole thing. Like, I had to pause, take a break, and smoke a cigarette, like, when I was done with this.
I did too, but for another reason. The scene that stood out to me was where she was, like you described, like the, I don't know, dream sequence, fantasy sequence, where she's laying on a thing of children's building blocks that spells out bed. So it's her bed, and these black dudes are coming out of the toy box like fucking, I don't know what, and then just stepping off to the side to be admired. And all that kept going through my mind was like, is this what poor Richard Pryor thought he was signing up for when he got the toy contract? Like, was he so excited and then showed up on the first day of set and Jackie Gleason's on there, called him the N-word? He's like, this is not what I signed up for. I thought it was fucking white ladies.
Yeah. Dolemite then finds Cavaletti's house and then whoops some ass. And I'm using heavy air quotes here because he whoops some ass, I guess. And these fight scenes are hilarious and absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know what to make of any of it. And I hope it was shot for comedic purposes.
There were two things here that I noticed that are key to Kung Fu. One, fight and fast forward. That is by far the most important thing. And two, when you are posing and doing your thing, you have to go. I swear to God, Rudy Ray Moore did the. I fucking paused it, rewound it, and watched it again because I thought I was having a stroke. I had to make sure that I didn't smell burnt toast. Like, what the fuck did I just see?
I think Taye Diggs would have done really well in this scene. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch The Best Man.
Yep.
But yeah, so like this whole series of fighting is ridiculous. He then gets to the dungeon where the dollar store Yakov Smirnoff has the girls quote unquote tied up, sort of, and he saves the girl. What a country!
What a country! America, love it!
Like he puts the grenade in between one of the chick's legs, and they got this weird like pallet thing that the other girl's tied to that they just. It was like a bunch of hillbillies went to Home Depot and just picked up all their scrap shit and then brought it home like, we're going to make some torture devices for the fuck dungeon.
Yeah, and some crazy fuck veteran. Because who the fuck that's some torturous Viet Cong shit. Putting a fucking grenade between your legs and making yourself balance on a log. And what I loved here too is when henchman Tony Pepperoni puts the grenade there, backs up 2 feet, and is just like, like, bro, you know you're gonna die too when she drops that.
Yes.
That is danger close, homie. Like, you need to back way the fuck up. Or here's an idea. Leave the room. Because she's gonna drop it.
Yeah, you could do that as well.
And the fact that she didn't, credit to those thighs. If you want your thighs to get stronger, apparently, you be a dancer and hold a grenade between them in a life or death situation.
Absolutely. 100%. That's in the next P90X videos that are coming.
That's right.
So, cut to Cavaletti throwing a party at his house, and he calls Queen Bee to have her bring all her girls.
Did you notice the visual here? Because Cavaletti has a very fine mix of people at his place. He's got white henchmen. He's got black henchmen.
Yep.
It's all good. Plus the nunchuck guy in the Speedos. I don't know what the fuck he was. But all of the black dudes at the party who were Cavaletti's henchmen had white wives on their arms.
I'll be honest, I didn't even notice.
Every single one.
Didn't even notice.
Had a white woman on their arms. I'm like, damn, Rudy, that's a statement.
Well, and I don't care what people say about Italians. This is how not racist Italian people are. Cavaletti never said the N-word once in this fucking movie.
No, he didn't. Well, that's because the sheriff was like, I only got 17 of them. I better have 26 or I'm walking off set.
I was going to say, the hillbillies and the sheriff and all those guys, I think they hit their limit for N-words in a movie. Dude, I've never seen more people use white people use the N-word, on film since, I don't know, what film was invented? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, there were a plethora of white people saying the N-word.
Yes.
It was very uncomfortable. It was, you know what it reminded me of was Higher Learning. That was the last time I heard all that shit.
Yeah. So we're at Cavaletti's party. Queen Bee has her girls show up, and Dolemite and his crew show up. They dress as like caterers and whatever.
Yeah.
And we get the guy in the Speedos here with showing off some of his sick fucking nunchuck skills. Cool. And then the ass whooping begins at the party. And, more bad fighting. Now, I will say this. The fighting here, a ton better than the rest of the movie. I think they spent their whole budget on this fight versus the rest of this movie.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that this was the first day of shooting and all the muscles got pulled and were tight after this day. So they had to hit fast forward on the rest.
Yes. So you have the ass whooping at the party. The final fight is between the now dressed nunchuck Speedo guy and Dolemite. Dolemite gets the throat punch, and it's game over for Ricky Steamboat. Hurricane Annie then kills Mrs. Cavaletti, and then the cops bust in as Joe Cavaletti tries to escape, and Dolemite catches him and then takes him at gunpoint to the creepy lady fuck dungeon place. This is where it gets a little weird. If it wasn't weird already, this is where it gets like, really? Come, like, you ran out of ideas at the end of the script. I know you did. So the cops and the sheriff show up and find Cavaletti like tied up in the dungeon, but Dolemite discreetly dips out, kinda, sorta. And the sheriff then tracks down Dolemite in his car, shoots him, and leaves the scene. But the movie ends as the human tornado was wearing a very flimsy vest at that. And you can't kill the human tornado with a cummerbund on. So he lives, end of movie. That's the end of the movie.
Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. Reynolds wrap is not going to keep your ass safe. It is not bulletproof. Do not try this at home. This was the only disappointing part about this movie for me was that the black cop didn't have more of a role in coming back to actually help Dolemite in some way. Because he just seemed to kind of go along with the plan and was like, they fucking told me I got to do this. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen it where, like, instead of the fucking aluminum foil goddamn bulletproof vest, having the white sheriff come up and get ready to shoot him in the back, the black cop comes up behind the white sheriff, calls him a honky or a cracker or all of that shit, you saltine motherfucker, and then crack, he shoots him.
Yep.
And he's like, look, man, we all knew that motherfucker was full of shit, da-da-da-da-da. End of movie right there.
Yep.
That would have been cool. This was just kind of like, well, duh. Of course Dolemite isn't dead. You knew something silly was going to happen. You don't kill Dolemite.
This is goddamn Rudy Ray Moore. He ain't going to die.
Right. You think Colonel Sanders is going to kill Rudy Ray Moore? You out of your fucking minds?
Exactly.
I mean, maybe with heart disease because the Colonel put some shit in that chicken. But this was crazy. The ending was nuts. Overall, though, dude, I honestly loved this movie. I had a hell of a fun time watching it.
I'll say the same. I told you, this is... If you can get by like the acid trippiness of it, and again, so many movies and so many directors back in the 70s did that weird, like,
it's like a John Waters special.
Yeah, it's like it has nothing to do with the movie, but we're gonna have like a go-go dancer with, and on the front and back end, we're just gonna acid trippy it out, and it's like, here's the plot: acid trip, dancer, acid trip, back to the movie.
Exactly.
And that was like a thing in the 70s. And they did it to the umpteenth degree in this movie. But if you can get over that, like this, it's a horribly great movie. Like,
oh, it really is. It's a lot of fun. If you just sit back and ready to have a good time, great. If you're gonna try and sit down and be like, well, compared to Dances with Wolves, I'm not quite sure this stacks up. It's like, no shit, Roger Ebert. Get the fuck out of here. So if you take it for what it is, it's absolutely fantastic. Rudy Ray Moore is an American treasure and should be celebrated as much. And I highly recommend to anybody out there, after you watched the Dolemite series, or at least these first two films, Eddie Murphy did a Rudy Ray Moore biopic. I think it's on Amazon. It is absolutely fantastic.
If it's not on Amazon, it's on Netflix. It's on one of the two.
Yep. but it's absolutely fantastic, and you get a little bit of insight into the man.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a fun movie.
Yes.
I was, again, first time I saw it, but I was happy that it was requested. I had fun watching it. I had fun making fun of it. It's a good time had by all.
Oh, dude,
All the way around.
The kung fu made me wish a motherfucker would. The titties gave a motherfucker would. This movie, motherfucker, it's good.
He think he's bad and ain't got no class. I'm gonna rock this shotgun up his motherfucking ass.
And on that note, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1976's The Human Tornado.